Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video. I'm your host Jose Rocks, and today we have November's rental codes for Regulation J. So this is going to be the final month of Regulation J. It's been very fun, and I've made 10 teams at this point, and these are going to be the last 5. And just let me know what you guys think with a comment below. What you think about these teams this month? I know I've been pretty ghost on the channel recently. As you guys know, Legend ZA just came out, and I've been having so much fun playing it. Right. I thought about streaming the playthrough, but I was kind of late on getting it because some people had the game early and they was already streaming it. So I just thought that I'll start to stream the ranked battles once I got good with it. Right. So if you guys are interested in that type of content, let me know. If you guys still want to see me post some gameplay from these teams for Regulation J, also leave a comment below if you want to see me feature these teams, right? But there are going to be 5 teams that you guys can use to get to the to Master Ball or to try to get rank number 1 on the ladder. These are very well tested teams. They are built for best of 1, and because it's a mythical format, you want to always have the element of surprise. And these teams can really win you games from turn 1. So first team we have here is going to be Hoopa and Koraidon. So we used Hoopa in the first season of Regulation J, but we decided in that season to use the physical Hoopa that can go through Protect. Now this one, it can't go through Protect because the Hyperspace Psychic move that it learns, only Hoopa regular can learn that Psychic move, right? Which I found out when I was trying to use it on Showdown. So this Hoopa can't even learn that move, right? It can only learn the dark type hyperspace move that goes to Protect. So if you guys want to use the psychic one, you have to use the regular Hoopa, which is not as powerful. So we decided to go with a Terra Blast set instead. When practicing with this team, I saw that dark types can be kind of annoying if Koraidon is not, or Iron Hands are not on the field, or Flutter Mane, which you have good answers in the dark type. So why not have already on the field that when they tear into dark to get around the expanding force, or even like a Calyrex Shadow that's going to tear into dark in front of you, you can just knock it out with a Terra Fairy Terra Blast, which is really cool in my opinion. Also, last time I used Hoopa, Rillaboom was very annoying for it. U-turning out and also just being able to one-shot it with a U-turn because you are you're 4 times weak to it, as well as knockoff being able to do a lot of damage to you because of your part psychic typing, so you don't necessarily resist that. The Fairy Terra being able to resist dark and bug is just really good for Hoopa, and it also allows you extra coverage to go alongside the dark and the psychic coverage, right? Of course, this is an expanding force Hoopa, so under Trick Room, this thing is going to do massive amounts of damage. That's the main mode of this team is not Trick Room, but you have that option. The reason we're not running Icy Wind on Flutter is because this team really doesn't aim to outspeed your opponents unless you catch them outside of Trick Room with your Flutter Mane and Koraidon. This team just aims to go into Trick Room, even though it's not a hard Trick Room team, but to counter those Tailwind teams. And if they don't Tailwind, then you just outspeed them naturally with your Flutter and Koraidon, right? So that's your fast mode of your team, and then the slow mode of the team is going to be Hoopa, Indeedee, and Iron Hands. So Koraidon is going to be a pretty standard set. I didn't go with the Life Orb because it's on the Hoopa in order to give Hoopa extra damage output since we're not tearing into Psychic. And the Choice Band just wasn't a good option for this because then you're just super weak to Intimidate and Incineroar with this team, right? And while you do have options into it, you don't want Incineroar just to be able to just constantly switch in on your Koraidon. So Clear Amulet makes it hard for Incineroar to come to this team. And another thing, like I said, what used to hurt this team, because it was Miraidon Hoopa I saw that Rillaboom was really good into it. So in order to fix the Rillaboom matchup, we have Koraidon and Entei, which really punishes Entei for coming out, right? Entei does not, punishes Rillaboom. Rillaboom does not like to see Entei and Koraidon. It can't do anything into Koraidon. You just one-shot it with, Flare Blitz. Entei also one-shots it with Flare Blitz. This Entei is very strong, and it's also meant to help you counter those Kyogre teams. Now, the lead that I usually use against Kyogre team is Entei Flutter. I just go for straight Terra Blast, Grass into Kyogre, and Trick Room with Flutter. If they have Tornadus, they're usually going to Tailwind so that Kyogre can get the Water Spout off, and they think that you're in a bad position, right? Even if you're switching Koraidon, it's still going to take about 40% if they Terra Water, right? So it's a really good strategy to just get Trick Room up, and then you have your Hoopa and Indeedee in the back. You can even drop the Koraidon in the Kyogre matchups if you want, because Entei, being able to click Stone Edge into the Tornadus, Terra Blast into the Water types, Crunch, is still good coverage, so you don't necessarily need Sacred Fire in the rain matchup. But this team is really fun. The last thing about this team that I want to point out, because we're going to go into a full breakdown with the team, once I post a video featuring it, because I do want to feature this team because it's really fun. The Iron Hands is Belly Drum instead of Fake Out. So one thing that you can do is lead Indeedee with Iron Hands. Just go for Trick Room and Belly Drum, and you immediately get that max attack, and then you just start sweeping on the Trick Room. Or you can go Koraidon Flutter, you can go Indeedee Flutter, you can go Hoopa Flutter, you can go Entei Flutter, or even Iron Hands Flutter, which they might be expecting a Fake Out. Sometimes they like to double protect in front of Iron Hands, and just getting up a Trick Room plus a Belly Drum is just like game losing for your opponent, because they can't even fake you out, because if you have your Indeedee in the back, you just switch it in to block the Fake Out, and Iron Hands just sweeps on the Trick Room. Even if it gets intimidated, it's still +5, Drain Punches KOing everything, Ice Punch is KOing everything that can't survive, that's immune to the Drain Punch or can survive it, right? Like Among Us and stuff like that. Rillaboom, it's just really good coverage into those mons, because those usually answer for it. And the Water Terror just helps you stay super bulky, so you don't lose the matchup against Calyrex Ice. This Iron Hand loves the Calyrex Ice matchup, because you get a Belly Drum up, it can't really damage you with the Water Terror, and then you just do massive damage with the Drain Punch. So this team is really fun. There is a runner code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below if you guys want to give this team a try. And let me know with a comment what you guys think about Hoopa times Koraidon. All right, next we have Magearna. Now this team is also very strong. So this kind of goes against everything that you think Magearna to be. Usually the Magearna teams, you see them being a hard Trick Room team with Annihilate to give Magearna an instant boost. But one thing that also is good at knocking out mons that can support Magearna is Calyrex Shadow. So this Magearna is a setup Magearna, and you see we have the Incineroar, the Rillaboom, and the Clefairy. It's a typical setup that you would see on a Calyrex setup team, right? That would be like Terra Fairy with the Draining Kiss. I thought, why not try that, but try it on a mon that can continue to get special attack boost just from mons fainting around it, and also is a lot bulkier than Calyrex, right? Which is Magearna. So the Clefairy still supports the Magearna with Life Dew, Follow Me Protection, Incineroar with the Intimidate Protection, Rillaboom, and Fake Out. Same thing with Fake Out plus the Grassy Terrain healing, which is, there's a lot of healing on this team between the Clefairy with Life Dew, the Calyrex having Heal Post, which can move before your opponents if Trick Room is not up, of course. And opponents really don't want to set up Trick Room against Magearna, right? Because it's already pretty slow. But Calyrex can also just go for the Heal Post outside of Trick Room and heal up Magearna when it's already low, before it can get it, before the other mons can move and attack it, right? And then you can just heal even more of a Drain Kiss, which heals an incredibly amount of health when you're doing a lot of damage with it. The Will-O-Wisp is just to really punish the physical attackers that come out against Magearna. You do a surprise Will-O-Wisp on your opponent, like it kind of just shuts them down. Magearna just sweeps, right? Because Calm Mind is very easy to get up with this mon. The Covert Cloak helps you play against like Rillaboom and Incineroar, which want to come to Fake Out Magearna. When you unless you tear into water, Magearna's regular typing, if Incineroar is not running Flare Blitz, is really good. You can always intimidate down their opposing Incineroar, right? And then you also have the Urshifu on this team to punish those opposing Incineroar that want to Flare Blitz to Magearna. And if they don't have Rillaboom and Incineroar on the field at the same time, Terra Water is so good, right? And then against Rillaboom, you can just stay your regular typing with Steel, and then just burn the Incineroar with like burn the Rillaboom with like a Will-O-Wisp. So I know I'm saying a lot because there's a lot of different things this team that can do, but if you guys can see the vision, this team is just aims to set up Magearna, and you're restricted plus the other mons all support it. Even Urshifu supports it by just being immediate offense that your opponent might not be expecting with the Choice Scarf. When they expect your team to be playing a little bit slower, they also may expect the Calyrex to run Trick Room. They may expect Magearna to run Trick Room, and we're just not running Trick Room on this team because that's not what it aims to do. It aims to set up and kind of sweep your opponent. So that's gonna be it for the breakdown with this team. Of course, when we feature the video, I'll give a full breakdown with this team. I'm super excited to use this team as well, and I think it's just a different concept on Magearna, and I think it's really strong. But there's a runner code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below. All right, next we have Darkrai. So this team really goes off the wall when it comes to best of one tech. So a lot of people might think like, why is Darkrai on a Miraidon team when Darkrai just wants to put things to sleep? Now, with this Darkrai, we're completely ignoring Darkrai's ability. We don't need it. If you end up, I mean, things are not going to go to sleep unless they put themselves to sleep. So Darkrai pretty much just doesn't have an ability. But what it can do is with its high, like 135 base special attack, is able to just, you know, do massive amounts of damage with the choice specs. You can trick the choice specs onto something and ruin it, like a Trick Room Mon or like a setup Mon. And you can also just go for very powerful dark pulse. If you're facing an opposing Miraidon, what I like to do is lead Darkrai plus Farigiraf or Darkrai plus Volcarona. Just go for the straight, usually protect one of them or helping hand, and just go for Terra Ground, Terra Blast. Well, usually to trap the Miraidon, you probably want to lead your Urshifu or your Volcarona, and usually they don't tear in front of Urshifu, and protect one of them, right? And then once you protect, you just go for Terra Ground, Terra Blast, and one shot the opposing Miraidon. And then your Darkrai is able to thrive, your Miraidon is able to thrive from the end game, and then you have a lot more easier time against those Miraidon teams. And against any other team, this team aims to set up with Volcarona and use the Miraidon, Urshifu, or Incineroar, or Farigiraf to kind of support that Volcarona. And then Darkrai is like an in-game cleaner that just offers like very fast, powerful special type damage at the end of the game where your opponent might not have proper speed control. So this team is really fun. One thing to note with the Farigiraf, I just try to do something funky with it. Instead of running Psychic, we run Nightshade. Just so Farigiraf is able to do consistent 50%. A lot of the times, Darkrai, it may not always pick up one-hit KOs on things that it's not hitting for super effective damage. And Nightshade can always just pick up that extra chip that you need. Or in reverse, once you do Nightshade, then Darkrai can pick up the KO. So that's what makes this team really fun. The Choice Scarf Miraidon also, like I said, is the best of one teams. It's very surprising for your opponent. They might not expect the Choice Scarf on it. You can just pick up immediate KOs. The Incineroar with being Assault Vest makes it super bulky. It's really good into the just any powerful special attackers like Calyrex Shadow. It's good into Calyrex Ice, and then U-Turn with Bug Terror just allows you to just turn off your weaknesses to ground and to fighting, and just also get stabbed on your U-turn. So it's just a really cool Terra. This team is very strong. The Farigiraf really helps in a lot of different matchups. It doesn't really aim to play in the Trick Room, but if you're playing against a Tailwind team, you can play towards the Trick Room mode. But the Farigiraf Incineroar mode is really there to help you against opposing hard Trick Room, so that Volcarona can kind of thrive and get those Quiver Dances up and just be super bulky. But this team is really fun. There's a rental code up at the top right and a Pokepaste down in the description below. Let me know what you guys think about Darkrai on the Miraidon team. Like I said, with people seeing it on the Miraidon team, they're not going to know what you're trying to do here. And instead of, like, a lot of people try to taunt the Darkrai turn 1, and we just go for just damage, right? And it's just very hard to deal with. But let's get into the next team. All right, next we have a setup Arceus Zacian team. So I didn't get to use Zacian in Regulation J yet, so I was like, let's try to build a team that functions around Zacian, and we came up with Arceus. So this Arceus aims to set up with Calm Mind, and then just sweep your opponent with like powerful water type Judgment and Giga Drain to heal yourself back, and you get stabbed on the Giga Drain when you use it next to when you use it with your Grass Terra. And next to Rillaboom with the Grassy Terrain and a couple Calm Mind boosts, this Arceus is just doing massive amounts of damage. The Zacian is also set up there. We have Fake Out, we have Redirection with Amoonguss, so that Zacian can also set up. This team is really good into Incineroar, so don't worry about it. Zacian usually doesn't like to go against Incineroar because you lose that boost, but Arceus threatens Incineroar, Landorus threatens Incineroar, and then you can also Sword Stance up to get rid of the Intimidate drop. So this team is very fun. The Landorus is there also to clean up the matchup into Zamazenta. It makes the Zamazenta matchup a lot easier, forces it to Terra. If it Terra's into water, you just deal more damage with it. With Arceus, if it Terra's into Dragon, you're able to hit it with Zacian with the Play Rough, right? So that's what the Landorus kind of pressured the Zamazenta to do, which is the only matchup that this team doesn't like. Other than that, this team has very good matchups across the board. There's a lot of good synergy. Even the Calyrex Ice, you have Terra Steel on Landorus, you have Terra Fire on Rillaboom. Arceus and Zacian naturally resist the ice moves, ice coverage. Amoonguss can Terra into Dark to survive and put it to sleep. So there's a lot of different options that you have on this team. Of course, the Tailwind is there for you. Tornadus is very important to this team in keeping the rain around, because this team really likes to play in rain. So we went with Protect on it instead of Taunt, because Protect is, people like to double into the Tornadus to get rid of it. So that you don't have like rain for the end game, you don't have rain to protect against fire coverage, or to power up Arceus moves in the rain, or like they're putting making their Koraidon stronger. So having Protect just makes it so if your opponent doubles in Tornadus, they're gonna feel really bad because it's usually not carrying Protect. And since we don't have a Kyogre on the team, I don't want to have to rely on setting up rain just to have accurate Bleak Winds. So we went with Air Slash, and this is a faster Tornadus. So Air Slash just gives you some win cons where you can flinch your opponent, make them not be able to move, which can also win you games. And we put Taunt on the Landorus. Taunt is there just because the Tornadus is not running Landorus, and also there's some benefits to running non-Prankster Taunt, You can taunt like Farigiraf when Tornadus can't usually taunt that due to the Armor Tail. You can also taunt like in DD or inside of Psychic Terrain because you're not being blocked by your Prankster ability, right? So that's why we ran Taunt on it. Initially I had Substitute, but I didn't see a lot of opportunities to set up Substitute when Arceus is already setting up Calm Mind and Zacian's already setting up Swords Dance. Landers really wants to go on an attack more, and Taunt is only for specific teams that you need it against. The Among Us being Rocky Helmet is really solid. We couldn't go with Covert Cloak because it's on the Tornadus, so Rocky Helmet is also really good. One thing you could probably do is probably make Tornadus max speed and put a Focus Sash on it instead, which I kind of considered and putting a Covert Cloak on Among Us, but we ended up going with the Rocky Helmet, and I felt like this will function a little better because there's a lot of times where your opponent will just fake out on the Tornadus because they expect it to not be running Covert Cloak, and you get a free Calm Mind off, right? And plus like a Tailwind or something. So it's a really cool strategy. The Rillaboom is there just to clean up a lot of different matchups and support the Arceus with the grassy terrain. Just give it extra healing because it's going to need it in addition to the Pollen Puff and the Giga Drain. But that's going to be it for a quick breakdown with this team. There's a rental code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below. All right, getting into our final team, we have Deoxys and Kyogre. So Deoxys and Kyogre, again, when I played with Deoxys in the first Regulation J season, Incineroar, even though I had Zamazenta, it was just still very annoying. It was very hard to get Zamazenta and Deoxys on the field at the same time, along with Indeedee, so that Deoxys could click Expanding Force and Zamazenta could click Imprison to stop Wide Guard, right? So I just tried to go with something a little bit different. Kyogre and Urshifu and Archaludon all pressure Incineroar, so that you're not reliant on the Psychic Terrain like the other team was reliant on Deoxys attack power. This team is like Deoxys is a bonus, right? Because you have the Urshifu Tornadus mode, you have Tornadus plus Archaludon, which is Archaludon can get boosted up with an Electro Shock, and plus getting his defense is boosted. It's very hard to deal with. It becomes a threat. And Kyogre is always going to be threatening because it's your restricted, right? So it takes a little bit of the attention off Deoxys and makes this team function a lot better. And if you look at, Tornadus, Urshifu, Kyogre, and Indeedee, they don't like their terrain being removed. They really don't like going up against Miraidon. I don't think that can really take, Electro Drift on this team is Archaludon. So we went with Terra Ground as well on Deoxys because this is similar to the Darkrai. You're able to just be immune to the Miraidon. And if you go with if you lead your Kyogre, you have your Protect, right? They're never gonna tear in front of the Kyogre. They're usually gonna try to U-turn, Volt Switch out, and you can just protect Kyogre and go for Terra Ground, the Terra Ground Trap, and then just remove the Miraidon with the Terra Blast, right? Deoxys' special attack is so high that it's always gonna one-hit KO Miraidon unless it's run like Assault Vest, which is not really common in this format, right? But other than that, once you remove the Miraidon, you got free reign to use your Indeedee to come in and just click those Expanding Forces. You got Psycho Boost for just single target to help you get around Wide Guard. We're not too worried about Wide Guard on this team, so I didn't really feel like trying to hard shut it down. I just rather click Terra Blast into the Zamazenta if it's sitting there Wide Guard in front of you, which is going to do massive amounts of damage, or just click Psycho Boost in the Psychic Terrain. Kyogre is also carrying Hydro Pump so that you have a single target move that can also get around Wide Guard, and then Urshifu and Archaludon aren't really worried about Wide Guard, right? And then you can also always taunt it with the Tornadus too. So those are going to be a lot of different things that you can do with this team. This team is also, I feel like, is an improvement on the previous Deoxys team, and just using it in a different way. I think that it makes this function a lot better. So if you guys want to give this team a try, there is a rental code up at the top right, as well as a Pokepaste down in the description below. Let me know in a comment what you guys think about these teams, and if you're going to try to use them to get the Master Ball. And let me know what you guys, which one you guys try out first. Just leave a comment below. If you guys want to see some Legend Arceus ranked battles too, let me know in the comments so that I can make you guys some of that content. But that's going to be it for this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Stay tuned. More new videos soon. Deuces.